Oh, I was just gonna go on a run, but I had to. I had to talk about the latest Joe Biden disaster. I feel bad because people are like, Kevin, you're not being in the middle. You're supposed to be Mr. in the middle. I think the most American thing right now is agreeing that Joe Biden is not fit to be president. But the problem is people are sending me this. They're like, but Kevin, look how great he was able to perform at this church service. Look, wow, ignore the headlines, ignore the pundits. Please do yourself a favor and just watch Biden speak at a church service in Philadelphia. Strong, moving, powerful. This is who I'll be voting for in November. Folks, this is an act by the Democratic Party to say, hey, you know what? Joe Biden doesn't need a teleprompter. Look, he's capable without a teleprompter.
Of God and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect our entire lives. We've never fully lived up to that, but we've never fully walked away from it either.
He sounds great, right? Oh my gosh, no teleprompters. See, the Democratic Party is able to say, look, Joe Biden is great. He's totally fine. He can talk just fine, strong, loud, proud. No teleprompter, everything is good. Oh, don't mind the fact that he has to read every single word out of the book that they handed him solely to provide him a script because he can't remember what he would say otherwise.
And that's because of you.
Every
generations before you who led the church from slavery to freedom.
We get about 5 to 6 words before a look down. There's zero mental capacity to memorize here. I remember back when I was at speech and debate and we'd write down points. We'd have a notepad. It was usually a yellow legal pad. And the idea was that you can look for a reference of where you were going, but you were going to talk about your next points because you knew your material. You didn't need to read every 5 words.
Always praying, always believing that joy cometh in the morning. You've never given up. In my life, and as your president, I've tried to walk my faith. To get us through the pandemic, I claimed 1 million loved ones and left 8 million people with an empty chair.
The problem is, if people are voting based off of a script, we are not actually getting a realistic presentation of the president that we have. Instead, what we have are the following. We have headlines by Axios suggesting that now we are in uncharted, historic waters. Mind you, this is an Axios piece, generally pretty liberal. And we hear here, President Biden, backed by First Lady Jill Biden and his convicted son Hunter, who's serving as a de facto gatekeeper for longtime friends, says that nothing besides an act of God will persuade him to quit his re-election campaign. But outside Biden's protective bubble, a fast-growing number of Democrats are praying for and plotting a more earthly intervention. That's a pretty thick threat there against Joe Biden. Keep in mind, Congress comes back into session tomorrow. In fact, J-Powell will be speaking on Thursday and Friday before the House and then the Senate. So we'll get to see a little bit of Federal Reserve action here. But anyway, they want everyone from the Obamas to congressional leaders to beg Biden to drop out by this Friday. The ball keeps getting kicked down. Or the can keeps getting kicked down the road or whatever. The problem with this is they're only hurting themselves. Democrats need all the frickin' time they can get right now to put up a better candidate. The problem is Biden, thanks to Hunter, which I don't understand why anybody's listening to Hunter, but whatever, he's actually pulling ahead of Kamala again now because people are starting to believe, oh my gosh, this knucklehead's really going to stay in the race. But then when you look at, okay, well, who's going to actually win the presidency? Donald Trump is still well in the lead, 57, 58. This is a very, very large lead. Now, something else to keep in mind is David Axelrod. He's a big Obama official, okay? And I didn't want you to hear it from me, so I threw up the wiki page. Usually, I don't solely like relying on wiki just because wiki does tend to get edited and lean left very strongly. We don't have to go into my thoughts on Wikipedia and censorship. That's really for a different video, but it's worth noting that here, political party Democrat, we've got chief strategist to the Obama campaigns. He's been an advisor in campaigns after he left the White House as well. And he just wrote an op-ed in, of course, CNN. It should be enough to indicate left tilt here. Okay, This is his opinion editorial. Early in the interview Friday, ABC's George Stephanopoulos asked President Joe Biden if he had watched his disastrous debate with Donald Trump that created an existential crisis for the Biden campaign. The president paused and appeared to search in his memory. I don't think I did. No. Memory is the problem here, okay? He needs like some new RAM built in. We need like Elon Musk to Neuralink him or something. Of course, that also opens the door to some scary considerations, but we don't have to go there. That doesn't exist right now in terms of implanting this into presidents as far as we're aware. Biden could be excused for wanting to put his awful debate performance in the rearview mirror. That was his purpose Friday in sitting down in the interview, to try to quell the panic that gripped the Democratic Party. He didn't succeed. To be sure, the president turned in a more energetic performance than he had on the woeful debate night. That is true. He was more energetic during that George Stephanopoulos interview. But in the interview, he stoutly touted his record and assailed Trump's character. Pretty typical. But on the big question that now threatens his campaign, whether he still has the stamina and mental acuity to serve 4 more years, the 81-year-old president offered little reassurance beyond a proud recitation of his impressive first-term accomplishments. What happened to him? At the most consequential debate of his life, Biden offered multiple explanations. A bad cold, exhaustion, inappropriate prep. Finally, he shrugged, I just had a bad night. I don't know why. You know, there were a lot of Democrats that were sort of circling around this, or they're like, why does everybody keep peppering Biden because of the debate? Oh, because that was one moment where you actually stand in front of America without a teleprompter or a script to show your capabilities, and you couldn't handle it. You were able to handle it 4 years ago, so something has changed. It's not like 4 years ago you also sucked at debates. And how quickly did it come that you were having a bad night? Well, it came to me I was having a bad night when I realized that even I was answering a question, even though they turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me. I realized I wasn't in control. Right. Now, turning the mics off was not a way to get Donald Trump to behave. It was a way to distract Joe Biden. This is bad for a president. Maybe most Americans, having watched him lately, would grade him poorly on that score in terms of mental acuity. But after the debate, the already robust number of Americans who deemed the president too old went up to 74%. Only 42% said the same about Donald Trump being too old. If we go to the conclusion of this article, David Axelrod argues that basically there is denial, delusion, and defiance in Joe Biden in his refusal to step down. And really, this week will be very consequential in determining, hey, will Joe Biden actually wake up to the force, to the power that says he needs to step down? We don't have any new Real Clear Politics polls. We ran through these yesterday. The only one Democrats are really cheering right now is the Bloomberg Morning Consult poll, showing Biden ahead in 2 battleground states, Wisconsin and Michigan. Though you could very quickly offset this by just looking at other polls and saying, okay, well, here, Michigan, Wisconsin, Donald Trump has a lead in those, according to Remington Research. So, polls are polls. We know this, but most of these polls have turned decidedly red in favor of Donald Trump, and you're always going to have a mismatch of polls here. I do wonder when this poll was conducted. Sometimes you look at these polls, and what I always recommend is figuring out when they were conducted. All right, here we go. So Bloomberg. Even if they were conducted, you kind of need to, after the debate, you kind of have to average together all of them, all of these polls. But anyway, let's see here. Let's get to where it was conducted. Bloomberg Poll is the first comprehensive survey of states likely to decide the outcome of the Electoral College since the debate on June 27th. Okay, so it was taken after the debate, so that's good. That is good. The debate effect, so this goes into a little bit more detail. Debates rarely change the trajectory of a race, but last week's was also the earliest one has ever had in the presidential election cycle. Okay, please indicate if Joe Biden should continue his campaign or not. Share of respondents who said, definitely continue. 46% of Democrats said definitely continue. 21 said probably continue. Wow, look at this. 5, 16, that's 21 plus 13, 34% said don't know, probably not continue, definitely don't continue. That's scary. That's not great for Biden. Now, again, this is post-debate. I do understand why a lot of Democrats rally around Joe Biden because they want to vote against Donald Trump. They're fearful of Donald Trump. They're fearful of the Project 2025, which Trump has denied being a part of, though there are a lot of Trump allies associated with Project 25. We don't have to so much go into that. But what's worth paying attention to is what is going to happen this week. This is the line right here. They want everyone from the Obamas and congressional leaders to pressure, to beg Joe Biden, praying and plotting to drop out by this Friday. Biden and his Democratic critics share one common passion: the intensity, certainty, and irreversibility of their positions. Both plan fierce public and private campaigns to see who buckles. Keep in mind, right now you've got about 5 individuals in Congress who are Democrats coming out publicly arguing that Biden should step down. This number needs to grow a lot, and we expect it will. In fact, based on Axios reporters' conversations with dozens of House members and senators, it's clear that scores are close to that's a lot, will be close to speaking out or signing letters telling Biden it should be over. These conversations will intensify this week. So not a lot has changed over the weekend, just more, frankly, script reading here, and unfortunately, talk about it's going to take more time to get him to drop out. But again, I think it's the most American and neutral thing to argue that Biden has to go. Pick somebody else. Now, do I think it should be Kamala? Frankly, for Democrats, anyone is better than Biden at this point. Clearly, Kamala is polling higher. And I hate Gavin Newsom's guts, and I think he's done horrible things for California. But I would argue, knowing that Michelle Obama is not interested, that she, quote, doesn't have it in her, I would argue that Whitmer or Newsom would be better for the Democratic Party than Harris. Of course, then you're going to be fighting against this, oh no, a white person has stepped over a black person, and you're going to play the whole race card. We know that because the Telegraph aired that Kamala Harris has made it clear that she does not want to be overlooked by a white person. All right. I guess that's for the party to figure out. Well, but I personally think from a if I'm just trying to put on the Democrat lens, Joe's got to go, and Newsom and Whitmer would probably be substantially more powerful. And I think you put somebody like Pete as a VP, mostly because you don't want to have a double California on the ballot. I don't think that would work well. And I think Newsom, I hate this so much. I hate saying this. Newsom or Whitmer would be a lot stronger against Trump for the Democratic Party. I think if you're a Republican, Joe Biden staying in is a gift. It is a gift to Republicans because it's an almost certain Trump win, as long as people turn out to vote. Because if people get complacent and they're like, no way, Biden wins, then they don't vote. Then Trump could lose. But I think Trump v. Biden, Trump wins. Trump v. Kamala, it's certainly a lot closer, but Trump probably wins. It edges out Harris. Trump versus a Newsom with a Pete or a Whitmer with a Pete? Wow. That's going to be harder. That's going to be the hardest fight for Trump. And again, I'm not picking a side here. I'm just saying that would actually be a fight. And now I know a lot of Republicans are going to be like, nah, we'd cream him anyway. And some Democrats are going to be like, hell yeah, we're going to cream. That's fine. Leave me your comments down below and let me know what you think. I'm just saying, this right here is not a fight versus Trump. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let me know what you think. If any of this makes you nervous, use the coupon code on the programs on Building Your Wealth link down below. Learn how to build wealth in real estate. Join me in the course member live streams every day where you can learn my lessons on trading, real estate investing, my first set of research before I publish it on YouTube. You hear it in the course member live streams. Sometimes the stuff we talk about never gets published on YouTube, and it's just sort of inside information that we get to talk about inside the course. So make sure you join, see the research that we're doing, from earnings calls to fundamental analysis to real estate analysis to really getting into what's actually happening in markets outside of the clickbaity world of YouTube. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon. Use that coupon code, join, link down below, and you pay once, you never have to pay again. It's a great membership. People have been part of it for some people over 6 years, and they are so grateful to be part of the community. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next one. Goodbye.
Not advertise these things that you told us here. I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than Househack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in Househack to always read the PPM at househack.com.